Not hand gestures. Why don't we want to do hand gestures? I can turn the camera
how about if we
on
just
by doing
talk about
this.
my little heart
How do I
candies?
turn the camera off? With a hand gesture. Any suggestion? We are live. We are live. Hi, everyone. This is Wally with Supreme Gecko. Thank you for adjusting me again.
How many times do I have to tell you this is not adjusting? Adjusting is a whole different thing.
462 more times.
This is cleaning off and dusting you.
Do I need cleaning off? Go again. Thank you for everyone for joining us tonight. This is going to be a fun one. We have Jason Morrow from Ghouls N Geckos. Jason keeps some crazy geckos, and it's going to be fun talking to Jason and finding out some of the geckos that he's keeping, some of his care that he's giving these animals, what 2025 is going to bring for Ghouls and Geckos. I wanted to mention, Nanette, I haven't put out a long form video in 3 weeks. Did you know that?
No.
Did you care? A little bit? Little bit? You didn't even care a little bit.
I've been busy.
I've been busy too. So I wanted to apologize to everybody for not putting out a long form video. My plan is to put one out every single week as well as doing the live. And I have topics. Oh my gosh, do I have? I bet you I could go right now to my Notion spreadsheet. It's not a spreadsheet. Notion is a note-taking software application. And I bet you I could come. Right now I have 50 different topics in there. I haven't recorded anything because right now, sometimes YouTube creators get something called paralysis by analysis.
It's called brain dead.
It's not brain dead because I have a bazillion different ideas running right now. Are you saying I'm brain dead? So I have about hundreds of ideas.
Frozen brain.
That's it. Because it's so cold right now. How cold is it? How cold is it? It's single digit. I know that. It might even be zero. Anyways,
I'll tell you.
I don't want to say struggle. I almost said struggling, but I'm not really struggling. It's more just getting the start because I want everything to be perfect. So
we're at 9 degrees.
9 degrees, single digit.
Not for long.
So sometimes, creators have this happen where they feel like everything has to be perfect. So they never pick up the camera and start recording. And I go back to Sean Cano, content makers. I can't remember his channel, but anyways, he says, just press record and get it out there. I need to do that. And next week we'll have a long form video and we'll start that process. Now, having said that, a lot of things have stopped me from doing that too, because I have a ton of things that I've been doing in the background. We've been building up the Buy Me a Coffee program a lot. If you're not part of that, if you can be a part of that, that's great. We do so much in that program. It's really kind of crazy. And we have if you're interested in Buy Me a Coffee, the link is in the description, but we'll have another live coming up in a couple of weeks. And that's going to be our big giveaway where we're probably going to give away, I want to say 500, 750. We'll figure it out. It's going to be a lot in that giveaway. Lots of other things going on, and especially for the Buy Me a Coffee, I've been putting together my goals. Wait a minute, goals. Wasn't that supposed to be done in 2024, for the 2025 year? You should have said that. You should have been putting your goals. Well, we had the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas, and I should have known.
Do you even need me here? I mean, you're doing it.
Out. Yes, absolutely. And we're going to kind of call off everybody in just a second here.
Yeah.
But I haven't put them together because, and this is the first year I haven't walked into the new year with goals. And it's because I have this big board full of stuff. And what I'm doing is I'm actually structuring what I'm doing to come up with some videos and to come up with I guess an educational kind of template that maybe you can follow to help you do goals as well. Goals don't have to be January 1st. And in fact, if you're planning a whole year out, you're probably doing it wrong. And I'll talk more about that in the videos that I have coming out probably in the next couple, 3-4 weeks. I'm more on quarterly goals than your goals this year. So we'll see how that
Daily.
works. Your daily?
Yeah, if I can get through the day, we're good.
You have YouTube up, and I'm just watching myself with all of my hand gestures. So far, all good hand gestures. So who's here in the net? I'll stop blabbing.
Wayne Abides, Guz, Frank is here, of course. Shane is here. Candace Livingston is here. And now I'm seeing the delay in here, and all you're waving at me on the side here. Stars and Rads, Reptiles. Grumpy Little Moose is here. Cassandra Pope is here. Geckos. Did you ever connect with our speaker or our guest tonight?
No.
Before the show?
No.
I see him in the green room, but normally you talk to him.
I never.
Shadow
No, I
Hunter.
haven't talked to Jason at all.
Celia.
He has no clue what's
Ed-
going on.
Well, I feel like I don't know. I'm here. Angie's here. Ms. Chaos 13 is here. And you're here. And
Thank you.
Cold Blooded is here.
Anthony, how you doing?
And Katie is here as well.
How is everybody doing? I'm going to bring on Jason in just a second. I want to go back to the goals real quick. Let me raise of hands. Who does goals? Who puts together some kind of a form of goals at the beginning of the year? Goals or New Year's resolutions, whatever you want to call it. Just put in the comment in the chat. Yes, that's all you need to do. I'm kind of curious on how many people are really doing goals. And if I can help anybody, let me know. I've been doing goals and things like that for years and years. So
Somebody just
I have a whiteboard. Ooh. Go ahead and read off, Nanette.
Jay says, I just have a whiteboard. That's fine.
Cool.
If Wally could have 3 walls in here and whiteboards, he would. Yes, I got Katie says yes. Mike says yes. Grumpy Little Moose says yes.
Score.
I
Everybody,
have no
good
goals,
luck.
Given up a long time ago. Cecilia.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Just a little goal. Hello, everybody. Wally and Nanette. Hi,
Hey, Moon.
Yeah, don't give up on your goals.
Don't give up. We're going to talk more on goals in these lives coming up, but we're really going to talk about them in the Buy Me a Coffee program. Jason Morrow. Oh my gosh, what can I say about Jason? Jason is a fascinating person in many, many different regards. Number one, he's helped us with the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas for several years now in donating wonderful gifts. Jason has, like I mentioned before, rare geckos and some kind of oddball geckos too. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Jason does the Gecko Exchange podcast along with Anthony, Cold Blooded. And I tell you what, folks, if nothing else, if you don't know anything else about Jason, know that Jason and Anthony are one of the best interviewers teams I've ever met in the hobby, simply because their interests are sharing the passion and information about geckos. And that's what's cool about this. I was on their show, the Gecko Exchange podcast, earlier this year.
Oh, no, I got it.
And it felt different because, they welcomed me with open arms and they made me feel like an expert and like I know everything. And it's not that way at all. We started talking and within minutes, it just became just kind of sitting around, having a cold beverage and talking geckos. I felt comfortable immediately talking to Anthony and Jason. So I told Jason I'd talk for about 3 or 4 minutes. And now it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's shaking his head like,
he's shaking his head like,
yeah.
let's,
yeah.
I can see him in the background.
I've been in your show before.
Without further ado, Jason, how are you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We are doing good. Jason, Nanette, Jason.
Yep. I met him the last time. Now I know who.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
What's the temp where you're at?
Oh, it is a nice, I believe it was 64.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, why did you say ooh?
I'm jealous.
That's not 64 below. That's above.
I'm
zero.
jealous. I could go for that right now.
Yeah, it's going to be in the 70s this weekend, so it's going to
Are
be
you
nice.
serious?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when you brewmate your geckos, you just kind of put them in tubs and you put them outside. That's
Well, for some of them, I will be next year. So yeah, that will be happening next year. Because I mean,
that's
at nighttime it gets like in the 30s, so
Oh,
I
poor
should be able
guy.
to put them in a little bit of a colder room than where they're at right now.
it's actually at nighttime. It's in the 30s here too.
Negative.
Yeah,
But
negative, right?
negative, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us in this live stream. I'm kind of excited about doing this because I want to know more about Jason. I want to know more about what you're keeping. I have little insights because you talk about some of your animals occasionally. I want to know more. Let's start off, Jason, if you don't mind. Why don't you share with our viewers a little bit about yourself specifically, your interests, your hobbies, your background, a little bit about your work.
So my background, I'm a culinary graduate. So I've been in food service for the past 20 years. I'm 41, so I've been doing food service since I've been in my 20s. I was also in the military, so I was in the Navy. I did that for 4 years, and I cooked in the Navy as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for your services.
Traveled the world while being in the Navy, so got to see a lot of different things. Like, so when people say, "I want to go here, I want to go there," I was like, "Yeah, I've been there plenty of times. I've been to Australia like 10, 12 times already. I've been to Thailand a dozen times. I've been to Guam so many times, Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai. So I've been around the world, and then also I've been a DoD contractor as well. So I've worked in Afghanistan, working in their dining facilities. I've worked in Nigeria in their dining facilities as well. And like actually during that time when I was working in like those two places, I did not real herping, but you get to see a lot of different stuff. Like my workers would come bring me like, boss, look what I got. Bring me like a big old monitor or some kind of a tortoise or some kind of a gomet or something. You're like, here, you want it? I was like, I can't do nothing with that. I live in a tent. Sorry.
That's funny. Did they kind of expect you to take these animals, or were they just?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're like, boss, you want this? I was like, I mean, sorry. I was like, I would love to have it, but I can't do anything with it right now. I'm not going home yet, so I can't feed it. I can't house it. I can't do anything. So no, just let it roam around, let it eat all the bugs, because there was all kinds of crazy bugs. There's camel spiders and everything like that.
So. My gosh, what a great opportunity, and to see so many different places. That's crazy. A lot of us, just dream about going out of the country, and a lot of us haven't, what a great opportunity. We're going to get more into that in just a minute, but tell us a little bit about yourself personally, as far as hobbies and, interests and stuff like that.
Besides,
I'm a workhorse. That's what it really comes down to. Like, even when I'm not at my regular job, I'm still working. Like I do Uber Eats, I do other delivery services. So I have a day, I work in the school district as well. My company gets contracted to run nutrition departments. So I oversee like 8 of 24 sites. So when we have days off, like we just had the MLK off, right? So instead of me taking a day off and not doing anything, no, I went to go work. I want to go do something else. I was like, no, I gotta make some gecko money. So so I'm just a workhorse. I mean, besides that, then it's mostly just YouTubing it up or reading a book. No, I've been starting to collect more books as I'm getting older, and I just want to read about certain things. So I just read about reptiles, and like even like my buddy Matt always says, if you want a reptile, read about it. And after you read about it, you don't want it, well, you have that book right there, so you're good to go. So I just actually picked up this book right here, the Amphibians and Reptiles of Madagascar. My buddy David Kelly recommended it because we did a podcast with him on Blazodactylus. And then, also I just picked up this one as well, Geckos, Biology, and Husbandry.
Nice.
Yeah. So just some good reads. You can never learn too much. said knowledge is always priceless, right?
Knowledge is priceless. And I actually have a question for you later on about that. You mentioned books,
Okay.
and I'm thinking, you're reading The Hobbit or
I know, I'm thinking for pleasure. Well,
but you're picking up
that is pleasure, but
it is pleasure, but it's research as well.
I mean, I do. So I do listen to a bunch of different podcasts. So it's not only, so I'm a big sports guy, so I listen to basketball podcasts a lot. I love like NBA front office. Those two guys have a great dynamic together. So I listen to them daily. And then just other random podcasts that might pop up.
The basketball
that's generally what I
podcast,
do.
that's not Stephen A. Smith, is it?
No.
Okay.
Trevor Lane and Keith Smith.
Okay, if it was Stephen A. Smith, I was going to call the show right now and say we're done.
No.
No
Outtakes. We don't do all those hot takes. They just these guys just information, what's going on in NBA that day, what's going on. So that's what I like to listen to, not crazy hot takes.
Very cool. I'm kind of the same way with podcasts. I don't watch the podcast, but like the Blackhawks, I'll after a game, I'll turn on the highlights and watch, 7 or 8 minutes of the highlights to try to keep up with that. You have to have other passions. You have to have a break, right?
I'm a big movie guy. Like I said, I love going to the theaters. I can't remember the last movie actually. We were going to go see Gladiator 2, but now we found out it's on Paramount, so we're just like, we're just gonna watch it here. So we're gonna go watch that.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the hobby itself. How long have you been keeping animals? It sounds like you started on the ship with the monitors.
Yeah.
How long have you been keeping animals? And what got you into geckos eventually, and especially rare geckos?
So I've been interested in reptiles since I moved to Arizona. When I moved to Arizona, I was probably like in the 2nd grade, because before then I lived in like Oklahoma. My folks were in the Army, so lived in like Germany for a little bit, and then we moved to Oklahoma. I never seen a reptile in Oklahoma. I'm sure there was, but I was 2nd grade, so we don't see a whole lot. And then we moved to Arizona. That was the first time I ever seen a lizard. I was like, what is that? I got so infatuated with it. So we would go ahead, just go around, always finding like fence lizards or whatever. Then I discovered geckos because I was looking in a water meter, because I didn't live in the country, we lived in the city. So I had to go find different ways to find these animals. So literally just pulled out, opened up a water meter. There was a bunch of spiders, and then I saw like a little, like a Mediterranean gecko or something. And I'm like, what is that? That looks way different from these other lizards. So I was like, all right, cool. Now, next thing you know, I'm looking at books, finding stuff out. And then kind of I would say my passion didn't die out. I just had other things going on as a kid. I was always in sports. I was in basketball, t-ball, bowling, just all kinds of stuff, always doing something. So, but by the time I got out the military, I was going back to my roots. I went back to Arizona, started looking at, went to a pet store, just a random, we went to PetSmart or something, and saw a gecko. I was like, what is that? It was a leopard gecko. I didn't know any of this stuff was. This was probably like in 2006, 2007. I'm like, what is this? Don't know anything about it. Just looked at it, and then started like getting magazines, getting those reptile magazines again, reading stuff. I was like, oh, you know what? I want this. It was a tokay gecko. I was like, yeah, that's gonna be a great gecko. That's gonna be a great first gecko.
Good first gecko there. Good job.
And so we went back to the store, and I was like, yo, I want a tokay gecko. And he's like, are you sure about that? I was like, yeah, why not? He's like, okay. He puts on this glove. It was a cut glove. I was like, I'm in food service. I know what a cut glove is. Why do you need that? And next, he puts his hand in there, and that thing sounded like a velociraptor going right at his hand. I was like, yeah, I don't need that. I'm good. So I end up getting a leopard gecko, and a little bit later on, I end up getting like a golden gecko as well. So
very cool.
Had those for a little bit. I end up giving a golden gecko away because I thought I was doing something wrong because it was always dark. Like I didn't know nothing about firing up, firing down, didn't know anything. So End up giving that to a buddy of mine. I kept the leopard gecko because it was doing fine. Had him for, man, probably until I went back. I went to Afghanistan. And that was probably back in like 2008. When was that? Maybe 2016 or something like that. I can't remember. It ended up passing away. Ended up getting like a cyst on his eye. There was a whole lot of other stuff that happened after I left. So I was like, okay. So kind of calmed down. And then once I got back, that's when I really got into it. And I just didn't know where I wanted to be in this hobby. I was like, okay, do I go? I ended up getting like gargoyles, cresties, and all these different stuff. And I just didn't know where I wanted to be yet. And then, what was it? I saw something. It was on like IG. You know what? I think I saw like a post from like Brian Susan, like a Strophurus. I was like, what is that? That is amazing. I need to know about it now. So next, I started doing all my research, trying to figure things out, and I figure out there's a whole big old world out there of geckos. So I was like, okay, that's all right. Now I'm going to go ahead and start looking at all these different geckos. And now I'm like, okay, now what do I want to do? So now it's like, all right, now I want some of this. I want some of that. And then I started listening to these old, you remember the Gecko Nation radio?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. I one of my first episodes I listened to was the one with Joe Hupp on it.
Wow.
Yes.
And they called him like the sensei or something of the gecko world, and started rattling off names. I'm like, what are all these geckos? I never heard any of this stuff before. So then I was like, you know what? I want to go this route. I want to have all these different geckos. So now we lead up to here where I'm starting to build up this collection of all these different kind of geckos.
Oh my gosh, I go back to what was it? Reptile Nation? Was that the name of it?
I think it was like Gecko Nation Radio.
Was that the one with from the West Coast with Brittany, and I can't think of his name.
No, they were East Coast guys.
East Coast. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I haven't listened to some of those podcasts in a long time, but I was the same way. When there weren't that many, when there were 2 or 3 on, Late Night Leos was the one with Brittany. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But, there were like 1 or 2 on. David of David's Fine Geckos did another one.
I think that was him. He did the Gecko Nation Radio, him and another person. And then they had like a little segment with, I can't remember. And they would do like a little funny segment.
Yes.
Talking about, they would read like something that happened in the paper or something and they'd be like one truth and one's false or something like that. I used to listen to them a lot.
I used to download those and listen to them at work at lunchtime. That's super cool. Did you have a question on that?
I said Frank just he's put a link and he's asking if that's who the Gecko Nation is.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure it is.
It probably is. Like I said, they haven't done anything in some years. So
yes,
I think the last one they did was like maybe 2015 or 16.
That's a long time. Things have changed so much. And again, I want to talk about research and how to stay up with some of this information. What I want to do right now is, you talked about rear geckos, and I've got to do this. I've got to show people. Give me just a second here, because I've got your drive here. I was in the wrong drive because I was doing some posting to social media. So let's see if I can get back, and I'm going to show the screen. Thank you for your patience.
Our chat is quiet tonight.
Our chat is quiet because I haven't shown any geckos. Quiet. That's why. We're going to show some geckos, and people will just be firing questions. If you have a question, put your question in the chat. If it's specific to what we're talking about, we're going to bring it up. Otherwise, we'll start it and we'll come back to it.
I just put that in there.
I'm a day late and $1 short, aren't I?
You've trained me well.
We're going to talk geckos. Real quick, I love your logo here, Ghouls and Geckos. Where does Ghouls and Geckos come from?
You remember that old, I think it was NES or Super NES game, the Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yep.
So that's like kind of like the castle background. So I had my buddy's a graphic designer. So I told him like the inspirations like of that video game, but I was like, yo, I want to have like different kind of geckos on there. So Strophurus, I had an Orientalis and a Tokay. So he put those in there and just made some stuff work out. It's like,
love it. We're going to talk about Strophurus in just a second, though. Cave geckos. When did you start keeping? I didn't realize you kept cave geckos.
You know, honestly, it was an accident. That's what really happened. So so I got this one from Richie the Gecko King. There was an auction going on and it was very low. I was like, let me go ahead and just throw a bid in real quick. Someone's gonna beat me. They didn't beat me. No one outbidded me, so I ended up getting that. And then of course, knowing Richie, he's like, hey, I got a female for you. You want her? I was like, go ahead and throw a female in there too. How much is it? Okay, no problem. I got you. So I end up getting that one and then a female as well. Yeah, that's the female right there. So I'm just waiting for her to grow up.
Are you thinking breeding in 2025?
Not for them. Probably 2026.
Okay, female's still a little bit young.
Well, actually, sorry. I will be breeding in 2025 with them, but not with that female. I have another female that's coming that is ready to breed. So I'm just waiting for temps to warm up from where they're coming from. Perfect.
Pretty colors. And if everybody doesn't know, these cave geckos, this is Goniosaurus aniensis, yellow and white stripes. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me get over to the next one. I'm not familiar with that gecko.
Wally, you made me you converted me, Wally.
Oh, that's so cool. I say this over and over and over again, and it's almost redundant, but absolutely my favorite gecko. Absolutely, and for many reasons. Now you haven't bred yet, right?
No. I'm still thinking maybe 2026 for them. I got to get some other things ready before I do that, because like hearing from the Pictus world, like they breed like rabbits. I was like, I'm not ready for breeding like rabbits yet. So that project's gonna have to hold on. And plus I just want her to make sure she has a good enough size and everything like that. Like the male's already ready to go. Female, she's only maybe 3 or 4 months old. So she has some time to go before I can think about it. So
yeah.
And I also got another male as well. And I actually got these ones from Steph, Green Acres. Yeah.
Outstanding quality. The thing that people don't realize is that these guys will breed at like 3 months old, and the females are teeny tiny, and it makes me cry when I see one that I've missed that a male has grown up faster than the female, and I haven't pulled the male out. I didn't catch it, and a female, little 3-month-old. So I just start pumping the supplements and dusting every single time.
Yeah.
And it's so scary, man.
Yeah. And that's the other male right there. Won that one on the auction too. I thought someone was gonna beat me. I was like, I felt so bad to the person, like, hey man, you don't have to sell me this gecko because it was a very cheap price, because it was an auction and no one beat that auction or beat that price that I put. I told him, I was like, you don't have to sell it to me. That's fine. I'll be okay with it. He's like, no, it's no problem. I got you. I was like, okay. Yeah, right there. That's who I got it from, Unholy Trinity Reptiles.
Wow. And it's so true. You have to be careful. We could talk again for 2 or 3 hours on this with the pick, but I'm not going to, because I would bore people with way too much information.
Yeah.
What is this?
So now I'm starting to get into, this is I'm starting to make those transitions to a more montane species. So this is a Uroplatus sicerae. Of course, she decided to take a piece of her moss when she was trying to get a gecko, or not a cricket. But yeah, that's a female Uroplatus sicerae. So the mossy leaf-tailed gecko. This
one looks very white.
Yeah, so she was completely fired down. Just got her, at that picture, I just got her maybe a week or two. So she was still trying to adapt to her new environment. I picked her up from a store, did a little trade. My buddy worked there. I was like, hey, how's this gecko? Is it good? Is healthy? He's like, yeah. She's like, I was like, okay, cool. I'll go ahead and do this trade. Just because, like I said, I wanted to challenge myself. Like I said, I live in Arizona, and these geckos need really cool temperatures. So I'm challenging myself to see if I can keep them correctly, which, I mean, I have been keeping them nice and correctly. I monitor them. I got a Govee little thermostat in here that I check daily, making sure, see where my humidity levels are, where my temp levels are. And generally I have that, my temp stay in there between like 69 to like 73. That's where they're at right now. And the humidity stays pretty high in there just because it's in the PVC enclosure. So, and then also I have like a Govee humidifier and one of those stretch tubes onto the side. So at nighttime, it pops on from like 10 at night to like until midnight. And so they get some cool, like get a cool mist going on in there, and she absorbs it. It stays nice and cool. Temperatures are nice and low. So no matter what, if it's summertime or if it's wintertime, generally they stay pretty even.
I've got another picture here. Is this
and that's
the same
her fired up? Yep,
isn't that
same one.
I'm gonna flip real quick back and forth. Sorry, folks, if I get you kind of dizzy here, but take a look at this. Wow. Is that crazy?
Yeah, incredible firing up and fire down. And she does not like to be touched at all. Yeah, she will like arch her back. She will gape her mouth at me. Wow. So, like I said, I'm a real hands-off kind of keeper when it comes to my geckos. I mean, a lot of my geckos are not those Hannibal geckos, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Like I go in there, make sure everything's good, make sure get all the poop out, make sure there's nothing moldy, especially in that one because it's a high humid tank. So get everything out of there. Same thing with all the other ones. I was like, only time I pick them up, make sure health check, make sure there's no crazy bite marks, no damage. And then I just go in there, spot clean as I need to go, good to go, done. Don't have to bother the geckos, don't stress them out. Like I said, some of these geckos can be easily stressed, so I want to eliminate as much as possible.
Thank you, everyone, for logging questions. We're going to get to them in just a minute. Thanks for your patience. I would think that in Arizona, you would have some difficulties with Uroplatus and cave geckos. Is there anything, you talked about the Govee humidifier, you have the Govee monitor in there. Is there anything else that you're doing to help the situation with humidity? Are you doing bioactive?
So for my Uroplatus, they are bioactive. So I got springtails in there. I got different couple different isopods in there, live plants. For the cave geckos, I had them in some decent sized bins, and I just make sure I only put so many holes in there. I make sure they do have air ventilation going from side to side and the other way as well, so they have good cross air ventilation. And then they got I put in like Reptile soil, different vines, different leaves, a lot of coverage so they can feel secure in there as well.
Outstanding. I'm going to show this again. Love these animals, these leaf tails. Have you thought about getting, and these are the Madagascar leaf tails.
Yes.
You know where the question is going now. Have you thought about going with any of the Australian leaf tails?
I am getting, actually I have a bunch coming to me once the weather actually gets a little bit warmer for where they're coming from. I have Saltorius salabrosus coming to me. What else? I have Saltorius cartier coming, and then Phylloris and Nicola. I have a pair of those coming to me as well. I can hear my Pterodactylus starting to make some noise, so you might hear some chirping. Well, I just heard the female purr. So what happens is usually the female will purr, and then the male will start chirping. So if you hear that chirp, 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 that's just the.
That's I've never appreciated the sounds that geckos make until we started
5:30
keeping
in the morning.
Sordidactylus penguensis. I can't think of Zabranchus,
Breakers, yeah.
and how loud they are. It brings a new dimension to keeping geckos. In my mind, it did.
They're loud, very loud.
Does it wake you up?
Yeah.
Well,
they're in our bedroom, so yeah. But we can hear them downstairs. That a couple of times the dog picked up his ears when he heard him chirping the one time.
So our bedroom is on the far north. West side of our home, and our family room is in the north east first
Southeast,
floor of our home, and we can hear once those Sordidactylus start chirping, we can hear it all the way through the house. It's crazy. I wanted to mention but the alarm clock goes off at different times during the night. Yeah. You don't realize it because you're already asleep, but like at 1:30 and 2, they're going off again.
I'm gonna turn on this light real quick. Give me 1
Sure,
second.
no problem. I want to mention to everybody watching these Australian leaf tails. The Gecko Exchange podcast just had Phil Tremper on and talking specific about the Australian leaf tails. Is that live right now? I think it is. I just haven't had time to watch.
Yeah, it's on YouTube and it's on Spotify. It released today on Spotify and iTunes.
Excellent. Phil is an amazing keeper, and
you might get a little teary-eyed at the end. I'm just gonna let you guys know that now. Like I almost started crying.
Oh,
like it was good and bad at the same time. But just if you guys listen to it, you'll know why.
Now you've got me wanting to watch
I know what I'm
yeah.
listening to all night. Thank you.
You said that, and I took down the whole picture thing here. Let me get it back here. Bear with me.
We'll be listening to that tonight when we go to sleep.
Okay, there we go.
It'd be cool if those geckos could chirp like a song or something calming. Not that sharp, shrill that you hear.
Chirp like, like AC/DC or Stairway to Heaven or something like that?
No,
or
calmer than that even. Just a very calm chirp. Not
Journey? Like Journey?
I don't know.
Let's just move on.
Let's just ignore none of that.
I have an idea of what this is. You want to talk to
it?
How many of the New Caledonias are you keeping?
This only Chahuas.
Okay.
That's the only ones I keep. Like I said, for those, I feel like those are like the more. I'm not gonna say so. There's a lot more going on up there than most of the other ones. So that's why I chose to keep them instead of the other New Cal stuff. So I'm not much for. I don't like. I've always told people like I'm not a big like the white collar and stuff like that. Like I like the colors. I like the oranges. I like the reds, the greens. If it has a white collar, it has a white collar. That's perfect. It's fine. But for me, it's more of the colors and then their whole social stuff that goes on. Like they're real protective especially about their enclosures. Like especially when you put them in a black PVC enclosure. I've noticed the difference between having them in a black PVC and a glass enclosure. Glass enclosure, they are friendly as all whatever. But put them in a black one where they can't see out the sides, only the front, they feel much more secure. So they're like, all right, we're not timid, so we're going to defend our home. So I was getting that a lot. Every time I walk
interesting.
Yeah, my male would go in there, I'm like, dude, chill out. I'm just trying to feed you. That's it. Like it's like it's okay, it's all right. And then of course the females, right when they lay eggs, they like to defend their territory. I have to get like a paper towel roll or something and kind of block her off. And I'm stealing your eggs. Yes, I understand that. That's bad, but I'm trying to make sure they hatch.
I just want to make it clear to everybody that's listening. When you talk about the Chahuas, I still say Chahuas, being a little bit smarter than the other New Caledonians. All you crested gecko keepers, Jason just said that his Chahoua is smarter than your crested gecko. Just wanting to let you know there. I 100%. 100%.
Was it the Chahoua that you had our friend go in to get the egg?
Yeah, I knew that they protected the eggs, and I asked him to get the eggs. And before I knew it, he was doing this with a chewy on his finger, trying to get it off. It flew in the air, and people that watch this know this story. But he's going like this, and I'm freaking out. He's freaking out, and he's swearing up, and it lets go. And literally, I was like Jerry Rice and making the grab and right back into the enclosure.
Oh man, yeah. I haven't had like that kind of a bite where they just latch on. They're mostly just bow, just back up, bow, back up.
Yes.
You know?
Just that warning shot. Boom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he put his hand right in her hide, and she was in the hide.
He was getting the eggs.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. You're gonna take that bite.
What a great friend you were.
I should have had my camera out. I should have been recording that. Do you plan on doing any of the other New Caledonias, or maybe not?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if I do something, right now I'm talking to somebody. We may work out a deal with some Urodactyloides. But other than that, no. Honestly, I don't even think I'll probably buy any more Chahuas. Like I'll keep I have one breeding pair right now, and I have 2 more that are growing up that will be breeding next year. So those may be the only ones I actually keep.
I don't blame you until next year, when you start selling some of your animals, and then you go out and buy the trackies, the live bearers.
Well, that would be a different story then, because I've been looking for a live bearing species. And I kept on like, all right, what do I want? Do I want like Capotes dumbara, or do I want Tracky? But those things are so expensive. So
expensive,
ridiculously expensive. So I'm not sure, but I do want a live bearing species. That is like on my list.
We've kept Bavaye in the past, and I really am fond of that little gecko. Super easy to keep and all. Tell us about this animal.
All right, these are my Certodactylus triatus, the like ground spotted geckos from Sri Lanka.
Now,
they look familiar.
You know what they look like? They look a little bit like Monolus, Oedura monolus. They look a little bit like Hemidactylus prashardi, young prashardi. Are these an adult? Is this are these adults?
Those are adults.
Cool.
So almost close to that micro, but maybe a little bit out of that range, just by maybe that much. Funny about them, they squeal like pigs. Like if you move them a little bit, they'll squeal. Like literally sound like a little baby pig.
Wow.
It's funny.
Wow. Interesting.
I got these ones from Jake of Just Geckos UK. So I got those imported in. So new species for me. So I'm still working this whole thing out. A lot of my stuff that I got now is all new, and I'm trying to figure all the stuff out. So I do have them paired up, and I'm just kind of seeing what's going on, see what they like, see what they don't like. Right now they're in a bin, right next to me over here. No, and that even my bin is bioactive. I have isopods in there because I want them to still have those foraging instincts. So if they get extra hungry, they could dig and find isopods. I have springtails in there, just all kinds of different stuff, all kinds of different hides, different. I use those mossy vines that bend everywhere. Just all kinds of different stuff for different stimulation for them.
Are these arboreal? Are these terrestrial, or are they semi?
I've seen them climb a little bit, like on like cork barks that are angled, or I would have those vines kind of angled where it's almost like a loop, and they would kind of chill on there. Usually they just defecate and boom, all right, cool. Then they get down and go do whatever they got to go do. But generally they're mostly on the ground.
do they, one thing that I've noticed with my Serdactylus Zabrancus is that I put vines or sticks right next to the food dish, and they will never, I've got a piece of cork bark. I should probably show this a little bit better than I'm talking about it. So I've got the cork bark and the food dish right next to it so they could climb on and eat right from there. But then I have a couple of other sticks coming down. 1,000% of the time, their heads down on a stick, eating from the food dish, kind of that predatory kind of
yeah.
way of eating.
Kind of like, that sit, wait, and look, and boom, got you. Boom, got you. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Our lights go off in our bedroom before we go to bed. So we come on, we turn on the bedroom lights, and I've got to look at them. So I walk over to the enclosure, and I turn on my light next to the bed, which gives just enough. And at least one or two of them are always sitting there looking at the food. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is a really, really neat looking little gecko. Anything special about this for care or?
No. Oh, I'm going to say I'm going to say they're from Sri Lanka. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of information on them, but knowing that they're from Sri Lanka and knowing that it stays really cool out there. So I don't put any heat on them. They're on the ground, so there's probably like this kind of a dirt. So there's definitely some humidity in there, especially coming from that place. So that's what I'm kind of aiming for right now. So of course I got Sri Lanka on my weather app, seeing like what's the temps over there. And then I'm just trying to mimic those, like I said, because there's not a whole lot of information besides, on the Gecko Exchange podcast is on there because we have Jake. We did a Serdactylus episode with Jake. So with them, these eggs take forever. I think he said they're like a 3, 4, 5 month incubation period for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's definitely going to be a long one. So like I said, cool and humid. That's what it is. I don't put any heat on them. They generally stay right now it's in this, no, it's fine. No, so they don't get any kind of heat. It just kind of goes with whatever the room is. Just listen to listen to the podcast with Jake. He's like, just keep it like 20. He was going in Celsius, like 22 Celsius. So it's kind of like almost in the 70, like maybe like 68, 70 or something like that. And then on the high end, he said maybe go up to 26. So like I said, pretty much almost room temp with that stuff.
Wow. Good call, Brad. Good call. Yeah,
pretty much just like them. And for like my nebulosus, I do give them a little bit of a hot spot, and it's not even, I wouldn't even consider it a hot spot. I have like heat tape for 80 degrees on one end. So, and that's just because they're from India. So India gets a little bit warm, but not too warm. Because like I said, they're from the forest. So they're on the forest floor. They're getting covered up by all that foliage from all those trees. So even if it says it's 95 and over there in India, on that floor, it's probably high 70s, maybe low 80s. So that's my thinking on that. Like I said, these are all anecdotal right now for me. So right now I'm taking all notes and seeing what's working, what's not working with them.
I think that's what you have to do. You mentioned before that you were, and I'm just going to do a shout out real quick. Hi, Julie. Hope everything is okay. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if I would if I were in the hospital. I wouldn't watch myself if I were in the hospital. How you said you did a lot of travel. How much of that travel and your experiences, not with obviously looking at the geckos in nature, but more being in those locations, how much of that transfers to the gecko care that you're giving right now?
Because I know how it feels. Like, so when I was in Thailand, oh my God, it was like so muggy and sweaty. And then the sun was beaming on you at the same time. It was hot and humid. So complete opposite of like some of those other places. So so when I had my tokays, I replicated that. And then I'm gonna do that too for I don't know if I'll do it for because I'm getting Serdactylus zebrancus as well, and I heard they're from some parts of Thailand. So I'm going to do a little bit more research before I get them because they're coming, I think, in March. Yeah, getting close on
Very
those two.
exciting.
Yeah, and but then other like Australia. When I was in Australia, I felt that heat. I know what it feels like. So I know when I put my hand in that enclosure, this is what it should feel like. Same thing with well, not for like my Uroplatus. I don't know what cold and humid really feels like. So I'm just kind of going off of some of the stuff, the readings that I have. But
Yep.
So some of these places that I have been, you just gotta try to remember what it felt like when you were there, and that's what I'm doing. Just like, all right, cool. I went to Australia. It was really hot that day. I was sweating like who knows what. We were walking everywhere, and the ground, if you touch it, it was just scorching hot. So I was like, okay, so this is kind of what my ciliaris need. They're from the Northern Territory. They're usually out. They're on those branches, so they're feeling that heat. So I make sure I give them kind of a good high temp, but then they also can get away from that temp as well. Where the rest, like my little spot, is probably like in the 90s, and then the rest of the area is like in the 80s for them.
I think that's the key, and I'll say it. I think I try to say it every show. We talk about enrichment and we talk about other words about animals, but gradient should be right at the top of our list of what we should be doing with our animals.
Yeah.
Love this information. Love it, love it, love it. Let me get over to, and we're going to talk more about Surdactylus in just a moment, but is this a Chewy?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I kind of stuck that Surdactylus in the middle of me. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Just beautiful animals.
Yeah. And with them, I still put these in an incubator as well, because I know people like, oh no, I just do room temp it. I was like, no, I'm putting it in the incubator. I got my incubator set to like 80, 81, and they generally hash out like 70 to 90 days. Of course, I do the spag with it because, like I said, I live in a dry state, so I need to keep it a little bit more humid in there than someone else would. And then, of course, I open it up, air it out a little bit, make sure there's nothing going on crazy in there. We'll put it back in. But yeah, I've had pretty good success with them. What am I about to say? Yeah, like my first year with Chewies, like with my first breeding pair, like it was like hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss. And then the second year after that, they started like hit, hit, hit. Then there'll be like a miss in there, then a hit, 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 and a miss. So it was going like that. So I'm hoping this year is just gonna be hit, 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 hit. So that's what I'm hoping for.
What I'm hearing from you, and everybody should be hearing this as well, we don't have to be perfect out of the chute with these animals. We should try to be. We should do our research. We should try to talk to other gecko experts. We should talk to the breeders. We should try to be as versed with these animals as we possibly. That doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, but what it does mean is if we're going to be in this for the long haul, we should be learning every single breeding season,
And you also got to take in the fact that so they were first year breeders as well. So they're not like first year breeders. Sometimes people get it correct all the way through. Sometimes they don't. So that's why I said like first year she was hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss. Second year, it was more hits than misses. Now this year, I'm hoping I get like 90%. So that's what I'm aiming for right now. Is let me get 90%. Then the year after that, let me get up to 92, 94. Just keep going.
Just keep it getting better and better.
That's always the plan. And like I said, this is like I said, don't care about the white collar. I love that orange. I love like almost the reverse stripe that it has on its back.
Yes. Very nice pattern.
Yeah. And so and he's not even a breeder yet. So that'll be my next year going to that one that you saw earlier. So those two will go together. Yeah, because this one was essentially supposed to be a female, end up turning to male. So I was like, okay. And then the other one was supposed to be a male, but is actually a female. So either way, it worked out.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
Yeah. So they're going together. There'll be a 2026 pairing for me.
I've got to ask how much, but I see the plants. I don't know if these are fake or live plants.
That's a fake plant. That's a fake one.
Okay. How much bioactive do you do?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Like my chewies, I don't really do bioactive stuff. Just because I've had in the past, I've had like, because I put like mealworms and superworms in there to aerate the soil. So I've actually had them go through an egg and hollow that thing out. Like I don't know if those were infertile eggs or not, because they didn't give me a chance to find out. Yeah, for them, and plus I don't put like isopods in there that I like the calcium, like, because those Chahoua eggs are really hard shelled. So I definitely don't do those in there. But like I said, I had superworms go right through them as well. So either way, it's not, I don't really do a whole lot of bio with them. Just keep them really humid, and I don't do the live plants and stuff, like just a lot of cork bark, a lot of cork tubes, stuff to make them feel secure. I said my PVC enclosure that I have for the chewies right now for my breeding pair is like an 18-18-18. And then all my young ones right now are in 12x12x18s right now.
Angie, I knew you were going to ask that, and I tried as hard as I could to get in front of you as I could. So you're a turd for asking it before me on all the other shows. You turd. Angie is such a wonderful person. What do we have here?
That's my Chahoua.
That's a Chahoua? What?
Yeah.
That must be one of them. That must be one of them. They're hybrids.
No.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
He almost came through the camera.
Yeah, I should have timed it better with him drinking something, and then
I would have messed up my work laptop.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Interesting pattern, especially down the back.
Yeah, like I said, that's what I was looking for too when he showed me, because I was like, because the female that I have has a kind of like that same back or reverse stripe. So I was looking for something like that. So he showed me this one. I was like, I'll take it. So that's what I'm hoping for when I pair them up, that I get that nice back stripe going down.
Man, oh man. And everybody's doing something different with Chahuas right now. It's super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very cool. All right.
Oh man.
Let's talk about this guy or girl.
So my latest obsession has been velvet geckos. All velvet geckos. This is a Haemophilus fasciata. That is a Tanzanian velvet gecko. Right now I am like in the process of collecting all kinds of different velvet geckos. I got Oreodora casalnueni. I have Haemophilus. I'm getting Blazodactylus in the next month or two. So I'm looking for pretty much any velvet gecko I can find right now. So these are actually back at this one right here. So that one, we actually did an episode with our buddy David Kelly on it. Great information on there. Like I said, and it's a new species for me as well. So I'm still learning this one as well. They are biters. They will bite you no matter what. They don't care. They are small geckos, and they will bite the mess out of you. Like when I unboxed him, or I don't know if that's the male. Yeah. When I unboxed him, he's only like this big. And the first thing he did was mouth gape at me and looked at my finger like I will rip it off.
Wow.
So yeah. So right now, and then I'm trying different things with them as well. So because David he said, it's like, I think they ate beetles in the wild. So I end up putting a bunch of the mealworms in there and let them kind of pupate and turn into the big beetles to see if they will try to chomp on those. I only see one more in there, one more of the beetles in there, but I haven't like really broke down and try to look for anything. And then also they are very long for incubation as well. It's a 3 to 5 month wait. So yeah, that's what I started noticing with a lot of the stuff I'm getting now is, yeah, your incubation is going to be like 3 to 5 months. It could even be 6 months. So I was like, great. All right. So
not many people are working with this animal. I can think of a couple of people, Ian Polka, and whomever you purchase from. And Kyle Salzman has an amazing knowledge of these animals. Kyle Salzman from Geckos.
Okay, yeah.
Not a lot of people are working with this at all, and that's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're very cool. I like them though. They're starting to warm up more to me now. Like they're
Yeah.
out a lot more. So they used to hide all day and don't come out for nothing. Now I'm starting to see them a lot more. I don't know if it's kind of because it's starting to get a little bit more warmer. They're like, all right, cool, we're gonna be coming out a little bit. But yeah, they chill. They go from like this color to almost like a silverish color. It's pretty cool when they fire down.
I heard
So,
I heard as you keep them, they get smarter and smarter, and they develop this niceness just to lure you in with a false sense of security, and then they just pound you. That's what I
oh, I'm
heard.
sure. I'm sure. I'm waiting to see what happens when I get eggs and then see if they attack me.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Okay. Here we go, folks. So you kind of like this whole Cerdodactylus. And I'm going to go back up here just real quick because we had a great
Julie wanted to
question.
know how long he's worked with these.
With what?
How long have you worked with it? That's
Oh.
what she said. She missed what he said.
With the velvet?
Yeah.
How long, Jason, how long have you been working with the velvet?
Which velvets? This one?
Yeah.
I just got this one last year. I got a 1.1 last year.
Nice.
Actually, I did a YouTube unboxing of. I had a big old haul of them, and that was part of it. Yeah. Like I said, I just got them. I saw them on Morph Market. I was like, I gotta get them now. Like whenever I see something that's just odd looking, I'm like, okay, we're gonna heart that real quick. And I'm gonna come back to it, and I'm gonna start talking to this person, and then I'm gonna figure some things out. And of course, what I do is once I know I'm getting it, we're getting an episode on Gecko Exchange podcast.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I think you have a fondness for Cerdodactylus. And Grumpy is asking, he's been calling them Cryodactylus, not Cert, like Cerdodactylus. I say Cerdodactylus. I've heard it said
Yeah.
Cerdodactylus.
I've heard it called Cryodactylus. I've heard Cerdodactylus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? My feeling is if you say Cerdodactylus or Cryodactylus or whatever, we're going to know what the animal is. It's like
Tomato.
That's not a tomato or tomato.
No, but it's just like saying
It's like Underwoodosaurus or Nephurus melii. If you say Underwoodosaurus and I say Nephurus, I don't care.
Or tomato.
We were talking the same animal.
Yeah.
It's all cool. Which Cerdo is this? Which cryo is this?
Nebulosus.
Very cool.
Nebulosus, the clouded Indian gecko.
Oh, so this is only about 3.5 inches long ish.
Maybe smaller.
Okay.
And that's an adult. That's an adult right there. That is my female. Yeah. Like I said, the female will purr like a cat, and then the male will chirp like a bird. I said, I got scared once because so when I first got them, I've never actually heard the chirp. And I remember one day I'm cleaning in my other room and I'm feeding geckos, and then I hear a chirp. I'm like, do I have a bird in my apartment? What is going on? Went in there. I'm like, where is this bird at? And then next you know, I see the male just, he's about to go. I heard the female go again. So, and then like you see him like in the front, like just chirping and puffing up and everything. And he's like looking at the female. I was like, okay, dude, you're gonna have to wait. You can't do it now. Like you have to wait a little bit more time. She's not ready for you.
Outstanding. And for Zabranchus, I had females for a long time. Probably, everybody said, oh, they chirp and loud and cool, but I want to hear it. And I never heard anything until I got the male. You know, somebody, Jim from Chicago, sent me over a male, and it was like immediately. I'm going to tell a funny story real quick. I don't want to take a lot of your time here.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I had them in this tank up here, and males, 2 males and 4 females, and they were doing great. And I had heard them chirping a couple of times. And with my office chair, I probably can't do it now, but I moved back at one point and it squeaked. And within like 2 seconds, one of the males squeaked and chirped real loud. So now for the next half hour, I'm like, where was that spot? How can I hit that spot to make it squeak again?
Oh man, I can't wait until I get mine. Oh, and she already showed, like, because I'm getting those from Steph as well. And she was showing me like, look, she already has eggs in her too. I was like, oh, I need these now. I just have to wait for those temps to warm up over where she's at before she can start shipping.
These Surdactylus, there's like the genus is Surdactylus, and there's what, like 5 or 6 species of Surdactylus?
Like 330.
Wow. How does anyone keep track of this? I get really confused because of a lot of the smaller ones look the same, but a lot of the big ones look exactly from one to the next look almost exactly the same.
Yeah. And I generally, like, that's my thought too. Like, I remember I was reading an article, and this actually just happened because they just discovered like a new species like a year or two ago. And it was literally just a gecko jumped on someone's backpack and they found it. They're like, this is different from this one. Oh, we got a new species. I'm like, just like that, huh? So, but yeah, they all are like kind of like the browns, the blacks and the whites, because they're all generally forest geckos. So they generally are mimicking what they look like in the forest so they can have some kind of protection.
I love the eyes, and
they're so elegant. That's the one thing I can say about them. They are elegant like cat geckos. That's what they remind me of, just a smaller version. And like the way they angle their bodies, the way they walk, it's just real elegant. Like
100% agree. Let me get over to the next one. I think that was our only Surdactylus. Grumpy is asking, Wally, don't forget about Geckos.
Yeah, because some of them taxonomous changed some of them, or changed them from Geckola to Cryodactylus, Surdactylus. Because I know Jake, when we did our interview, he would say Geckola, and then he would correct himself. Like, no, yeah, because he has like Johanna, Decanus, yeah. I do want Johanna. I like the Johannas a lot. But yeah, so he would keep on saying that, then correct himself. So yeah, they did go through that taxonomic change.
Nanette, put down a note to call Jake after the show to put my name on his list for Yahama. Those are super cool animals.
No.
No. Okay. So I think you have a passion for many, many, many of these different animals, but specifically Strophurus. Tell me about why you have such an obsession. My obsession is Periodora. Plain and simple. I love all the animals, but Periodora is just that next notch up for me. I think you're the same way with Strophurus, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me why.
For me, it was like, all right, I want to find a gecko that's is arid, but also arboreal. And then they shoot stuff out their tails. Like, how cool does that get? Like, it doesn't get much cooler than that. Like, they could, like, if they wanted to, just spray you. And I love their eyes, their eye coloration. Like, you will see like they'll have like this red outline into a yellow, and then the black slit. And then some of them, like, if you look at like some like Tenacata, where they have like a couple different subspecies, and they'll have like one's like a green eye, one's an orange, one's a red, things like that. Like, they're just a beautiful gecko to me. Like I said, and they're from Australia. Everybody loves Australian reptiles because you can't get them. You can't get them anymore from Australia, so that's why everybody loves them. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, and I was gonna say, like, I love the contrast, especially like Ciliaris. I love the contrast of that orange to sometimes that black or that white. Like, yeah, like I love the black spikes, the orange spikes. So sometimes they have nice eyelashes. And look at the eyes, all that yellow with the black. I just, yeah. The only thing I don't, so because they are arboreal, but they do not stick well to you because they don't have like claws to actually grip onto your skin. So you have to be really careful if you ever hold them because they will fall.
Hmm. So when they spray, is it like a scented mist, or what is it? All I'm
So
thinking is skunk
compare it to a stink bomb. That's what it smells like.
So I'm
Yeah.
pretty accurate then.
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. Like
Okay.
in captivity, they rarely. I've been sprayed once, and that was from a hatchling that was freaked out.
Mhm.
So, but other than that, never been sprayed. Well, I don't know. This female I have back here now that I've just paired to my male. No, she looked like she wants to spray me every once in a while now. I don't know if she's like, this is my home. Get out of here now. So, because every now and then I'm looking around like, all right, did you dig yet? Did you do anything? Did you give me some eggs? Right now she's looking kind of plump. So I'm like hoping for some eggs in the next few weeks or so. So we'll see what happens.
Interesting.
So this one is, I'm going to go back. Hold on just a second. So this is William's eye?
No, intermetus.
Oh, is it really?
That's a hatchling intermetus.
So to be very, very honest, I kept William's eye 15 years ago. And at that time, there were only the two, Taniakata and William's eye. The others might have been in the hobby, but not really, per se.
I've had William's eye as well.
This one looks a lot like William's eye.
They do. And they're actually, if you like look at their common names, they're both called, I think, like the Eastern spiny tail gecko.
Jeez.
So that's why you got to do like their scientific name.
Can you make one? Yeah, so we can.
Julie's asking, can you bring one out and make it mad so it sprays you?
And you'll.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll spray me, but I might be able to bring one out.
Tell us about the care of Strophurus. I'm going to go back to.
It's super easy. Like, so UVB. I have a UVB right here, 10.0.
Oops.
I have a heat dome right here that is connected to a thermostat, so it stays at around like 95 degrees. And then, like I said, and that's all you really need. So a bunch of sticks and branches because they're open baskers. They don't hide. They just bask. That's why the UVB is so mandatory. Like that is one of those geckos where they like, oh, UVB might benefit them or something. No, this for them is pretty much mandatory. They're always out, even in the wild. They're out. You'll find them. So you definitely have to get a good UVB. I either use like Zoomed or I use Arcadia. Those have been the best for me so far. I've tried another one, didn't really work out. I need the more linear ones instead of like spotlight ones.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the ones I do have spotlights on, like my Uroplatus one, because like I said, I don't think it's mandatory for them because she always hides. She's very rarely in the UVB. So that's why they can have like the UV with the LEDs. But for them, mandatory. Like I said, 95. I spray them out. I spray them like 3 times a week. They don't need a whole lot. Like I said, because they're in an arid place. They get most of their moisture from the bugs that they do eat. Because I gut load all my feeders, carrots, dandelions, bell peppers, apples, potatoes, all kinds of stuff. And then I put in bug burger. And then I hydrate my vegetables as well. So I put my veggies, I get a bowl of water, chop up everything, put it in there. Yeah, let it hydrate. So those crickets are getting hydrated, and then feed those off like a day or two later to the geckos.
Want to do a real quick little shout out. You and Anthony have a segment coming up on feeder insects, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Or you're putting one together?
We're gonna Seth of Hups Herps. Yeah, so we're gonna do a BMC one with him. So that'll be a buy me a coffee members. They'll get to see that first. I think we're gonna record that maybe in February or March. I gotta talk to Seth and get some dates straightened out. And then, but yeah, because like I said, he said he has some ideas about it. So I was like, I'm intrigued. Let's talk about it. So we're gonna go ahead and go in depth with some feeder stuff with him.
We you know, from a creator standpoint, we see all these videos on crested geckos and leopard geckos, and once in a while we'll see these cool videos on the leaf tails from Australia, like Gecko Exchange podcast did recently with Phil Trumper. Now we're digging into the weeds with these feeder insects. That is so cool. So hats off to you guys for moving forward.
We've done one feeder episode already. We did it with Mariana of Beast Mode Silks. We did that one with her.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a very good one. She had a lot of knowledge on that stuff. It was crazy on how much stuff that she has to go through just to feed all these silkworms, and how much she produces and how much she cares for her. I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy. And she's such a nice lady. Oh my God.
Yes. I've talked to her a couple of times too. Super nice.
Yeah.
You said that. Did you say that the Strophurus are hiding on you? In my experience, when I had the Williams eye, for them to hide simply meant that, I've got to use my finger here, simply meant that, like day geckos, if I came close to they just move. They just move behind the stick that they're.
Yeah.
So, which emphasizes your point about the UV lighting. Even behind the stick, they're getting some absorption, and more importantly, with 2 steps, they're right back where they were before and reabsorbing that UVB. So they're self-regulating how much UV they're getting and what they need. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. I want to show this other one real quick here.
That's one of my that's my breeder male right there for my intermedius. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a male intermedius right there. And those are actually so I won't have those pretty soon. Like I said, I'm getting those Saltoria salabrosus. So I'm actually trading my like I said, that's one of the good things about this hobby. You can do trades. You don't always have to have cash. So buddy hit me up, say, hey, you want to do a trade? Yeah, what you got? I'll take it. Thank you. So yeah, I end up getting that. Like I said, I'm getting that through a trade. I'm getting some Phylloris through a trade. So
I like these things. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll say they breed like Cresties. They really like my first season with them. She gave me 8 clutches.
Wow.
And then yeah. And then second season she gave me 6. And like I was going to give her this season off. I wasn't even going to produce intermediates this year because I was like, all right, like there's not a crazy demand for them, so I'm not going to keep producing them year by year by year. So might as well give her that year off, let her kind of recoup. Don't have to you don't have to breed every year. Like just keep them as a pet and then a child trade.
I have dibs. It's my show. I have dibs.
But yeah. So this one I actually got that one from Joe Hupp right there. No, actually no. Sorry, no. I actually got that one from Kyle of Q's Geckos. And this one was actually produced by Mike of Mike's Gecko Room.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that's the female that's in this tank right now with that male that you had that really light salmon color male.
Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully I get some eggs from them. She's already looking fat. She looks fatter than that picture right now. Like right where by her back legs, you could kind of see the little lumps.
Take a look at that, folks. This is just an incredible animal. Look at that tail. Now this one looks so much darker than any that I've seen in the past. And I know that they change per mood, but fascinating, amazing animal.
And I have another male that's darker than that. And I'm just waiting for him to grow up.
Wow.
Yeah, like his skin almost looks real shiny instead of looking at all those scalations. It's like so saturated. It's crazy. So I'm just waiting for him to grow up, and I might switch that other male out and put him with her. So we'll see.
Beautiful animal.
Are they unlikely to drop their tail?
Say that again. Oh,
are they
I've
unlikely
seen
to drop their tail?
No, they don't really drop their tails. I mean, because it is their defense mechanism to use that spray. So if they drop the tails, just because like it probably got caught in the glass when you're trying to close the door or something. I've seen like one person with Strophurus that lost their tail. Other than that, no, I've never seen another Strophurus with a drop tail before.
Interesting question, and I'm sure that there's some kind of environmental behavior, something to do with why cresteds always drop their tails.
Always.
And they always do in the wild.
You sneeze and they drop.
In captivity wild. They don't. In the wild, no crested gecko has its tail. It's just weird, and some geckos just don't drop their tail at all. We have. Will the tail? I don't even know that. Will the tails grow back?
I don't know. I have not. Because actually, who dropped? Well, Steph actually. Remember, Steph showed that she had, because she was the one I saw that had the drop tail, where it got. I don't know what happened, but it was she didn't have a tail on it. So I'm waiting to see if she posts again, and shows if it regened or not. Because I'm interested in seeing what it actually looks like. Does it have those spikes on her still, or is it nice and smooth like you would like a leopard gecko when they have their drop tails all smooth? It doesn't have all those extra bumps and it doesn't have all that extra stuff on there.
I hope they don't get like leopard geckos with the turnip looking tail.
Yeah.
Ew, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of questions. I'm gonna ask mine after these. Let's go through some of these questions. I hope everybody's still here. Cassandra, what is something you've always wanted as a pet but can never have for some reason?
A Bronia.
Oh, so why can't you have them?
I think they have really advanced care.
Okay.
They have like their parameters are so strict that you have one bad day, they could be gone. They're from the cloud forest of over in South America, in which and for me, I always feel like it contradicts, because they're like, all right, they need airflow but also high humidity, and I was like, how can I get that? I live in Arizona, but they need like an all-screen cage, and like, how am I supposed to keep this? Now I've seen people do it. I'm good. I'm just gonna sit back, watch people live vicariously through some of those people that keep them. Like my friend Savannah, she keeps them. Perfect Q's LLC.
Yeah.
She has great Abronia, and I was like, I'll live through you, because like what you do, I probably can't do over here in Arizona. So that's one that I just can't do.
Hats off to you again. I've always said that my number one wish list animal is Periodora musobi. I probably will never have them because of their care requirements. Maybe someday, but I know right now I'm not ready to take them because I don't have the tools and knowledge and experience. I would still have to get, do tons of research on those. But in my mind, they are the coolest geckos.
Oh yeah, I love those musobis. They look great.
Oh my gosh. Grumpy is saying, do you tell people your food certification in the hobby? Picks serve safe.
I am serve safe. Yeah, I'm serve safe certified. Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. Let's see if I can get this one up. What advice would you give people just starting in the hobby? Great question, Cassandra. Thank you.
Don't follow. Just like what you like. Like and that could be anything. Like I said, if you like crested geckos, fall in love with that stuff, right? If you like the oddball stuff, fall in love with that stuff. Work with it. Have a passion. Because like I say, if you don't have a passion with this stuff, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna get bored, and then you're gonna be like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not making any money. I'm not doing this. It's like, no, have a passion with it, and just whatever that gecko is, do all your research on it. see if you can even care for it. See, like, never look at this as a monetary value. That should be like the last thing that you should think about when you're doing this. Like I said, just find something that you're going to enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, you're going to hate it. Like I said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So if you love that species, you're always going to love it. You're not going to hate it. You're not going to be like, oh, I got to clean again. You're going to enjoy it because you're going to open that tank up and be like, oh man, you look so cool, man. Damn. Like, I can't wait until you grow up and get bigger, stuff like that. Just love it. You don't think about the monetary value. Worry about that stuff later on. Just find something that you're going to be passionate about.
Do you do that when you clean all those tanks?
I'll say it like this, and I've said this for years and years and years. The first time I go downstairs and open an incubator and find a baby, be it a crested gecko or a period or a picta, which we hatch out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds every year. The very first time I go down there and think, oh my gosh, I have another one. Where am I going to put that? I've got more mouths to feed. The very first time I do that, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Every flipping single time I go down, it's like, oh, look at the pattern of this one, or this is interesting to see or I hope that this turns out. Every single baby gets me going every single time. So yes, I do.
I love cleaning. I'm like, Sunday, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me go clean a bunch of bins. Let me put on a podcast. Let me start just spraying stuff down, wiping stuff out. And then, you're happy when your stuff is clean.
Yep.
So when you're not happy, your animals are gonna feel that too, because they're going to be living in their poop and all this other stuff. Like especially like my Strophurus, they poop so much, and it's so. Arboreal geckos are way different from terrestrial geckos when they poop. We talked to Dave about this, like, because Anthony brought up a question. He's like, hey, do all terrestrial geckos, do they all just poop in one spot? I'm like, pretty much, yeah. They're like, yeah, arboreal geckos, they just splatter wherever. So I gotta look up. I gotta put my head in the enclosures, especially like the PVCs when I can't see. So I put my head in there. I'm like, all right, poops right here, scraping everything. I got my headphones in. I'm listening to someone talk on a podcast, and I'm just enjoying life.
Mm-hmm.
That scene that you did like this reminded me of Daddy Daycare, where he said, "Did you go potty?" Yes. Where did you go potty? In the potty? I went everywhere. And then he walks in. Oh,
yeah.
Yes, exactly. I like cleaning. I really enjoy cleaning. I really do.
I didn't mean that bad. I meant,
yeah. And yes, they thrive better, cleaner, and they look better, and I can do videos, blah, 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 blah. The biggest thing that I get out of cleaning is that I'm spending time and I'm looking more in detail than I do when I'm doing the feeding. So then it has control of the con.
I was adding in a question.
Oh. Angie is asking, what's your all-time favorite gecko? Put Jason on the spot here.
Like, I'm to be honest, I don't have an all-time. Like I said, mine literally goes from one thing to another, because that's just the way my brain works. Like, I gotta have all kinds of different stuff. Like right now, my fascination is all velvet geckos. Like, just seeing the different varieties that there are on this earth, and all their different living conditions. Like, a velvet gecko from Madagascar is way different from a velvet gecko from Australia, but they're all still called velvet geckos, right? Mm-hmm. So and then just learning about those. I don't like velvet geckos. For me, is like, I like the way their skin feels, the way they move, and like I said, I love arboreal geckos, and they just hit all those markers that I really love. But I say my first love is, and actually it is, a tokay. Like, for some reason, I love a tokay. Even I've had one in my life, and I loved her. She was awesome. We had a good relationship of, I don't mess with you, you don't mess with me. So she never bitten me or anything like that. She would let me move her tail because I didn't want to. She knows I'm not trying to close it.
Really?
Yeah, because she would like. So when I had her, I gave her to one of my buddies because he has like a big Tokay project going on. So I was like, here you go, take it. But whenever I open it, she would be right there on the door. And then so as soon as I'm closing it, she'll let me move her tail so I don't smash it. She knows I'm not trying to. I don't want to smash it, and she's fine. She'll let me tongue feed her. The only thing she didn't let me do, she's like, nope, you're not rubbing my chin. You're not going to rub my back, but you can move my tail and I won't snap at you. And she never snapped at me at all.
Wow.
So you said you loved her, but I'm going to say she didn't love you at all.
No. She just respected me enough because I fed her. She's like, you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Mutual respect. Yeah. Outstanding.
And actually, because I lost her, well, I didn't lose her. So at the time, my ex-girlfriend lost her when I went to go to my kid's 8th grade graduation in Nevada. So I was like, hey, I lost her for like 4 months.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I know you're going to be alive. I know this. You're strong. The Tokays are so hardy and strong, especially when they're already established. Just throwing crickets, boom, boom. I was living by myself, so crickets on the floor. You're gonna eat. You're gonna be good. And I ended up finding her one day. I was about to go start Ubering, do my Ubering, and I just looked out the corner of my eye in the kitchen. I see something blue, because she was a powder blue Tokay. I was like, "What are you doing?" Hey, ran over there. She went under the fridge. Got her out from there. Then she went into my couch, flipped over the couch. I was like, all right, now I got to figure out how to get you without getting bit. And I had some bends, trapped her in the bin, made a quick tank, put her back in there, beefed her back up, good to go.
I don't think I would have stayed in the house.
You would have ran out of the house?
I would have been gone until you found that animal.
Well, I would have caught it real quick. That's why I have the wet dry downstairs, so I can collect the animals.
She was gone for 4 months. I would have been gone.
Angie's asking also, do you have a dream gecko you'd like to add to your collection? And I know what you're kind of going to say in a kind of a general format. But I will say, Jason, you're probably like me. It's 8 o'clock here. At 9 o'clock, my dream gecko will completely change, right?
Yeah.
This minute in time.
Yeah, this minute right now, like I said, I'm going with a lot of montane species now. So like I said, I'm getting those leaf tails, which those have been a dream of mine because I've always wanted one of those massive. Was it the Saltoria salabrosus?
Oh yeah,
I've always big massive gecko. Wanted one of those. Like, no, they're like, oh, but it's not like a leashy. No, I like an athletic gecko. That's my big thing right there. I like athleticism. So I don't want you to like just stay plastered somewhere and then have me having to feed you. That's why I like Tokays. Tokays are athletic. They're smart. They're family oriented. So that was one of my things right there that I was really attracted to. With them, same thing. Like, well, they're not family oriented, but you keep them cool. They have the big old tails. They're not big bodied, but they are long. Like they're like probably my forearm. And then you just keep them cool and like they match like the cork bark and all that good stuff. And their heads are pretty massive. Things like that just gets me like when I think of like massive heads, I think of like them. I think of Ceratodactylus eurygiensis. Things like those. I love that stuff. Like I love geckos that can take down like good sized prey.
Buffalo elephants. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I fell in love with reptiles was their predatory instincts. So that's why a lot of and I'm going to talk about the new cow people again. I don't get excited when I see them going to lick their gecko diet. No, I want to see you hunt. That's when I get excited. I want to see you hunt. I want to see you forage. I want to see these instincts kick in. So that's why I love reptiles.
Great point, Jason. And I'll say my second favorite thing downstairs to do to hear is after we feed a lot of mealworms, especially to our crested geckos, our babies and our juveniles. So, we have 2 rooms full of, crested geckos. So by the time I'm halfway done, all that I'm hearing is, the
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh,
yes.
yeah. Just hear that.
And then I'm finished, and it's like popcorn all through the room.
Yeah,
I can hear individual crested geckos going after these mealworms and
yeah.
slime, being the smartest gecko in the world, they're going after the mealworm and missing it by about 4 inches, even though the mealworm's just barely crawling around.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some crested geckos before. I've got some in the trade because I had some had Oreodora monoliths. So I was supposed to get sandboas because I was interested, like I said, live bird. I wanted a live bearing reptile, and so I was like, oh, I want to get a sandboa. His sambo didn't drop the litter yet, so it's like, hey, would you be interested in some cresties? I was like, well, I like Dalmatians. Do you have any Dalmatians? So gave me some Dalmatians, and I feed them like my Chahuas. My Chahuas are on a much bug heavier diet. My Chahuas get bugs 3 days a week, and they get diet like on the non-breeding seasons. They get diet once a week, and then during the breeding season, I give them diet twice a week. But they are real bug heavy. They are bug motivated. So I kept them on that. And they were attacking crickets Tokay style. Just boom. Yeah. I was like, that's so awesome. Why don't people do this? It drives me. Like, it doesn't drive me. People do whatever you want. Like, for me, like I said, I get excited when I see them, when those instincts kick in. You're like, all right, it's time to eat. Boom. Grab them. And you just see a leg just hanging out or something. It's like, cool, perfect. I like that.
To that point, I know where you were going with feeding crested gecko diet only to your crested geckos. It's hard for me to see that posted on Facebook or hear somebody say, oh, mine will only eat crested gecko diet. It's like, I don't think Pangea
You're only giving it that option
are in the wild. Andrew Gilpin said in one of our discussions one time, LAC Herps, he said, we can do, everybody's doing as much as they possibly can to help these animals survive. But sometimes you have to take that next step and help the animals thrive. And it's like you're saying, we could do the crested gecko diet score. And I sell crested geckos off of our table at reptile shows, and I say the same thing. You can feed only crested gecko diet if you want, but if you want them to grow better, if you want a better response, if you want better behavior, you really need to feed crickets.
It's a mental stimulation for them.
Yes. 100% agree. We've got a question here about installing a waterfall. I think that was the Abronia.
It might have been.
If I'm not mistaken, about keeping the humidity up.
Yeah, that would be hard in because they needed a screen cage. So that water probably get everywhere.
I would think, there's got.
I've seen people do different things like my buddy Jack. He lives in California, but he has like one of those big grow tents, and then he keeps them there. But then he also has like these almost like PVC boards that he drills into the screen cages as well. But I was like, I'm not going. I don't know if I'm gonna go there just yet doing that stuff. I can still keep other montane stuff, but not that one, just because their parameters are, you have to be on point with them or they're just gonna go downhill real fast.
We've talked a lot, Jason, about your collection and the care for some of these animals. We haven't dug deep into this. I haven't mentioned this to you, but what I would ultimately like to do in the next couple of months is have you and a couple of other people. I'm promising your time right now. I'd love to have you and a couple of other people talking about Strophurus and get together and unjudgmental. Nobody's 100% right. Nobody's 100% wrong. And just going through, especially an amazing animal like Strophurus, If you're
Mhm.
game, I'd love to have kind of a panel discussion, and we'll
Mhm.
really dig into the care of this amazing animal, if that makes sense to you.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. I have a bunch of other questions, but Angie, I think, asked like 98% of them. So tell us how people, this has been an absolutely wonderful conversation. Tell the viewers how people can find you.
So you can find me a couple different ways. You can find me on Instagram at Ghouls N Geckos. Also, Instagram, I run the Gecko Exchange podcast page. You can find me on Morph Market when I have stuff available. Ghouls N Geckos, same thing over there. Or if you just want to chat on Facebook, Jason Morrow, you can find me on there as well.
I think you're online almost as much as I am, because every time I have a question and I shoot it over to you, it's like Jason replies like that quick. Frank's throwing some of your links up. Thank you very much again,
Okay,
Frank.
thanks.
You're doing a great job here.
Right?
What's that?
Is that right? Did I put it on right?
Yeah, absolutely. Good job.
I got
Perfect.
a delay on my computer, so I wasn't sure.
Thank you, Jason, so much for giving us this time. I learned a lot. I hope everybody else enjoyed the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week. Jason, hang on for just a second.
No problem.
Good night.
Good night, all.